ahead and get started. There we go, 11:30.
Ready?
All right, good. Is it still morning?
Still morning.
Still morning. So I'm Frank Buchholz. I'm on the Surface commercial marketing team. My focus on the Surface team is IT Pro audience marketing, so marketing to you. But my big focus is around deployment management and security. And so here to talk a little bit about that with you today in regards to M365.
And I'm Peter Lurie. I'm what they call a Surface Global Black Belt and an incubation technical specialist. That means we help take new products and get them out to be deployed for IT pros like everybody here.
Yep. All right, so we will get right into it. So when we look at today, when we look at the IT kind of piece, and not saying that I know the exact job that you do, because I don't live in your shoes, but I try to listen and talk to you as much as possible, would be these are the types of things that we're hearing, right? We want to do more with less. You're drowning in complexity, because I like to use the old adage or the piece of, hey, maybe you were an OCS administrator that went to Lync on-prem and then Skype for Business and now Teams in the cloud. And essentially, you've had a lot of layered complexity as it came along. And then how do you essentially make that jump out to some, put a PBX into the cloud type of environment? And how do you accomplish that, right? And so you're drowning in that complexity, but you're also drowning in that, hey, I need to take a moment of time and figure out how do I get from here into the cloud if that's the way that I want to go? Or, kind of a happy world of how do I even achieve more of a hybrid model of where I'm managing maybe, or I'm deploying something maybe through autopilot, but I am also able to active or AD join the device in order to get GPO onto the device as well and be hybrid. So there's a lot of different complexities out there, and you want your users to be essentially happy, and you want to reduce that IT complexity that is placed onto them. And so what we want to talk about today is essentially how can Surface and M365 together provide that best case scenario where we're taking some of the latest technologies that are available through M365 that Peter and I will highlight today, and then make them available to you and help support you along that line. So when we look at that, we think of, this may be a claim that I'm making, but I think of IT pros love Microsoft Surface and M365 because it helps them reduce that cost and complexity that you're looking for. And why is that? Well, a lot of the feature sets and a lot of the capabilities of a Surface device really stand out in an M365 world. Like, how do you deploy it with autopilot? How do you manage the device with Intune? How do you secure the device down to the UEFI level so you have end-to-end management of the device? How do you update the device with Windows Update for Business, or take those packages that are available as MSIs and put them out through SCCM or other pieces so you're updating these devices? And you're not only just updating the Windows operating system, but you're also updating the UEFI on the device, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So when we look at those advantages, we really think Surface has a good position within there compared to when we look at, say, Surface in an on-prem world, it looks a lot like another Windows 10 device. So, and I'll be honest, when I say that. So when we look at how do we kind of evolve that, we look at that towards how do we evolve this deployment world, but we want to streamline those deployments. We want you to trust that the version of Office and Word and PowerPoint and Excel, as well as the Windows operating system that we're shipping on the device, is the cleanest and most streamlined way to get you that device. And we want you to trust the factory image that we're actually placing out onto there, so you don't have to run MDT on the tool or on the device and re-image that device after we've already spent a lot of hard work imaging it in the first place out of the factory. And so we want to talk about how does that process work, and we'll go over that. The other one is we want complete device management. And one of the things we announced was this ability for us to manage not only the operating system on the device, but through Intune, we can now manage all the way down to the UEFI level, meaning that UEFI that controls camera, speaker, microphone on your device also can lock USB ports. You can now manage that through Intune through a function called Device Firmware Configuration Interface. That's a marketing term. No, that's not a marketing term. That's like an engineering term.
It's an engineering term.
Yeah, so we got to come up with a better marketing name for it. But DFCI, that we've got a couple labs going on. We actually have a hands-on lab, I think, tomorrow again at the end of the day in West 221 that you can sit through and you can actually deploy a device through Autopilot. So look for that session about deploying devices through Autopilot, and then you can actually sit through and actually hands-on do it. And so what we want to really show is how can you manage that device. We've, of course, been able to do that through SCCM or Config Manager in the past, but we want to be able to add those functionalities and feature sets to be able to not only manage Windows, but also down to the UEFI level, which we'll actually show you today. And then finally, we want that intelligent security. And did any of you sit through Tyler Ross's and Bob Combs' session yesterday on Surface Security? Nobody? It was a good session. Akati did back there. So, but it was recorded, so take a look. But you know, the security on the Surface device is what we call end-to-end security, but also kind of security in depth, where we talk about security all the way down at the UEFI level and how we're protecting that all the way up through the stack and using the intelligent security graph of the Defender ATP in order to give you the most protected device available. So we want that, you know, idea. We want intelligent security to bring in the power of M365 to know what problems are happening around the world, but then also we want to give you secured hardware so that we would say out of the factory, this is the most secured device you can buy. So within there, we talk about Autopilot. So Peter, if you could switch over the SDI on this device. And so I'm going to break out of my Surface Hub because the Surface Hub is made for presentation and collaboration. So I'm going to use the Surface Hub that's on the stage. How about that? So I'm going to come into PowerPoint and come into this slide and be able to bring it up and then be able to present it. All right, so when I look at, and of course, Peter, I probably stuck the pen over there, didn't I?
I don't see the pen.
That would be a downside of a Surface Hub demonstration if I actually didn't use the pen. So maybe I'll have to draw with my finger or not be able to draw at all. But let's see. Oh, there's a pen. All right. Look, it's magnetic, so it has lots of screws stuck to it. That's weird. We'll make sure it actually works. And it works, too. All right, so my demo karma went from really bad to back to saving my demo karma. So, so towards that, think of Autopilot. What we're going to do is when we're talking about M365 and Surface, we really think that Autopilot is kind of the cornerstone to that, that experience. And when we look at Autopilot, I don't think of Autopilot actually that does that much. Autopilot kind of comes up and says, hey, when the device comes to me and says, hey, I'm alive, do I send it down a road of saying, hey, just do your standard Ubi boot, or do I take over as Intune and tell Intune to take over and now control the Ubi boot from there? And what I mean by that is that first experience of when you actually turn the device on. But the reason that we came up with Autopilot within Windows is because of that ability where we want to take that factory image. We don't want you to have to go through MDT and re-image these devices. We want you to trust that image that comes from the factory. And so that'll save you the time and complexity of having to re-image those devices and then also require your users to be on a corporate network, where here they could be anywhere because the device is going to come straight out of there. So for that, though, what Autopilot really is, it's a big, powerful gateway to some much bigger tools called Intune and Azure Active Directory that you are well aware of, I'm sure. The cool thing about Surface is we pre-install Office Pro Plus on every device so that when you do deploy through Autopilot, you're just placing a license down onto the device. You're not having to activate the device in any way or pull down click to run or other things that are going on. You already have the applications on your device straight from the factory, just placing an M365 license onto it, and it's working, or an O365 license as well. So the cool thing about Surface is that every device that comes out of Surface, we actually make the Autopilot enabled by collecting the device ID and storing it in a cloud, right? And the reason we do that is because we want any device, whether you deploy it through Autopilot or not, to have the capability to be Autopilot enrolled. So, and we'll explain that in just a second. So along you come. You say, hey, I want some Surface devices, or you want some Surface devices for your end users. And we say, hey, you got to talk to a cloud solution provider. And the reason we want you to talk to a cloud solution provider is they're the ones that likely sold you the M365 licenses. They're the ones that have the ability to get into the tools to help you out the most. And so what we do is we actually send to the cloud solution provider a list of serial numbers, right? And those serial numbers, when they get them, as soon as they get them, we can send that to them either electronically, like through an EDI feed, electronic data interface, or we could just send them a spreadsheet if they're not like as sophisticated. And so what they can do is they can actually set up an API or manually enter things into a tool we call Partner Center so that the serial numbers are showing up in Partner Center. But as soon as they show up in Partner Center, they will actually show up at the customer side or your side as well. So now you have serial numbers in Intune. These devices are probably still sitting in our factory JDM1 in China. But they will soon be shipping, and they will ship not only to the partner, but then they'll ship straight to you as the customer. So, but the thing that you can do here is you could set up a profile on here, and you could put in apps in that profile within Intune. You could put in policies, and you can put in settings. And then what you really want to be able to do is say, hey, these are the engineering team's devices. And so you could actually tag it so that you could create a bunch of application policies and settings for engineers, for HR, for marketing, all these other sides. What then happens is we actually ship that device directly to the employee, or if that's something you choose to happen. And actually, Peter will talk about something cool called White Glove that actually allows you to intercept the device before that and save some time for the end user. But the very first thing that happens is that device, when it's turned on, it calls back to Microsoft and says, hey, here's my device ID, and I'm alive. And Microsoft says, awesome, I'm glad to see that you've made it out into the world, and you're a big boy or girl, computer, whatever that word goes for. And now I'm going to check with the Autopilot deployment service and be able to say, hey, are you enrolled in Autopilot? Is this device ID enrolled? Well, sure enough, it is. And so it says, well, if it is, then it belongs to this version of Intune. It's say contoso.com or somebody. And we sever this connection now, and we are able to say, hey, Intune, take over and start pushing down applications, policies, and settings onto the device. Now, the cool thing there is you actually get your corporate login. And you're like, that's kind of magical. How'd they get the corporate login if we never touched the device between now and here? That's because of this registration process that had already taken place. And so you're able to push down your corporate login that says, welcome to Contoso, or whatever it is. You're able to change that pro license that may be shipped with the device to an enterprise license. You're able to remove the EULA because you don't want customer or your end users to accept software and licensing on your behalf as a corporation, and a bunch of other security settings. You're able to push applications down to the device and be all cooled and ready to go. Then what happens is the device goes into a steady state usage, and you're able to do things like remotely reset the device. So an advantage would be, I'll use a school system as an example. So a great partner of ours, Tustin Independent School District, they recently deployed 8,700 Surface Pro 6s in 3 days via Autopilot. And then they gave them to their students, high school, so 9th through 12th grade. But the cool part would be is at the end of the year, a fourth of those devices are going to be retired because their seniors are leaving. But they don't want to have to return all those devices back to a central location. They can just send through Intune a reset bit. They can just like ask the principal or administrator in that particular school system to turn the device on, get it on the network, and then we can reset that device. And actually in the lab that it actually takes place, you'll do a reset if you're interested in doing that. And so you'll see how you can reset the device, and the device will go back through Autopilot so you can give it to a whole new user. So kind of cool stuff. The other cool thing would be warranty replacement within Surface, because we are part of Microsoft and we have the ability to build a relationship with you that says, if we pull a device like a serial number out of your environment because it's, say, broken, maybe you dropped it. No. But if that was to happen, or we've obviously had some hardware failure on the device, we can de-enroll the device from Intune for you and then re-enroll the new device into that same profile setting that was there for the one before, and then you can just hand that device back to the same user that had it before, and it'll run back through Autopilot all over again. So definite advantages when it comes to that.
So Frank, can I just add one more? The other use case is, hey, I have a employee who left. I want to repurpose that PC, but that PC may be in a different state or different country. You can do the same thing, send that reset bit, and then on that employee's first day, here you go. It looks like a brand new PC. You didn't have to ship it back and do the manual work of re-imaging that device. Right. Make it ready to use.
Yep. So at this point, we'll go back to the slide deck.
Yep.
We're done with our Surface Hub.
Yep.
All right, so we just want to talk a little bit about Surface on autopilot. And towards that, I think Peter was going to take it over from here.
Sure. So autopilot is really the cornerstone for being productive. It's really the cornerstone of M365 modern management. How do I get that first boot experience and make it easy? And that requires things like Azure Active Directory. It requires setting up those provisioning profiles that Frank was talking about. But it also really helps to work with your partner to be able to do that. Because if you can eliminate the work in building an image, that maintaining an image that by definition, as soon as it's built, is out of date, and leave that to us, that's a good thing. And that just helps you be really, really effective when you go out and build your devices. So if we can go and make it zero-touch and make, just as I said, as effective as possible. Make sure that you're applying all the appropriate policies. When we sat down with the engineering team of Windows and said, hey, we need to make the burden of deployment easier. How can we do that? After a lot of iteration, we said, yes, let's go in and make autopilot available. And as typical, and at the beginning of 2018, we were the first device manufacturer to support autopilot. Autopilot is open to all OEMs, but we traditionally are leading with autopilot, of course. We've also partnered with, as Frank said, cloud service providers. Those are often resellers, whether it's the likes of CDW or SHI or Insight in the US and many, many others, or other ones globally. These are companies that will sell the devices and also do the enrollment work to make it easy for you. So really, if we can sit down and make it, time per devices, make it easy, that's a good thing.
Yep. One of the actual stats we have is that Microsoft itself actually deploys Surface devices through autopilot. And before when we were doing more of an MDT process, it was taking about 90 minutes to deploy a device. And now they've actually shrank that down to 25 minutes. So that's a huge savings, and that's a real number to just kind of call out.
So we've been talking about what I'll call traditional autopilot, which is, hey, I go in as the OEM or as the partner and set up the image, and then the end user opens the box and signs in, and the policies come down and get applied. Any apps that need to be installed will get applied. And what we found from talking with our IT teams or our IT customers, that the end users don't want to wait. Okay, they want to open the box to be immediately productive and not wait 10 or 15 minutes. And what we saw is that some customers keep putting more and more apps in, and that time from when they sign in to when they can actually use the device has gone from our goal of a minute or two to much more. So we said, okay, let's go back and let's rethink this, and let's talk with our partners, and let's say, is there a way that we can go in and expedite that to maybe take the device, have a technician open up a device on a bench, for example, like they would, but instead of traditionally imaging it, let's provide what's called white glove service, where we will do the time-intensive task of downloading all the bits we need, maybe do some delivery optimization, so that if I have a dozen of these devices on a bench, I'm only going to pull one file down off the internet and let the other ones do optimization, delivery optimization, and share those bits across the organization, or across the bench, if you will. And then when the end user goes and signs in, all they do is they have to get the very few bits that are specific to them, their specific policies. So both autopilot, I'll say traditional, and autopilot white glove are available today. And the key difference is, how do I go in and save time for my end user? Does that make sense? Okay, let's live demo it. That sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so this is actually not live, this is a recording, because the network in the show is wonderful. But when you go in, you boot up your device for the very first time, first question you have is, what's your region? So if I go in and say, yes, I'm in the United States, then I hit the Windows key 5 times, it's going to come up and prompt me to say, hey, how do I want to deploy this? Okay, you can say, I want to deploy using the provisioning package, or the second option, which is pre-provision it with white glove. And a couple things to keep in mind. Notice I'm not going to sign in with any credentials here. The assumption is that I am authorized to do this. I hit continue, and it's going to go out and pull down all the bits and take the profile that I've created and apply to this device. And as it goes out and figures out what it has to do, first thing it's going to do is pop up a barcode. So if you're deploying many devices, actually it's a QR code, there it is. If you're deploying many devices, what this means is you can now track this individual device. Okay, it says, here's the tenant I'm in, this is the profile that I'm using. Okay, here's the user who may be assigned to this device, and it's going to go ahead and do this work. And we have a sample app that you can use to go in and track these devices. Okay, and here's the point the end users would have to go through. They would typically wait while the preparation, the setup happens, any patches get applied. But instead, again, this is happening on a bench, typically, or at an IT organization. Whether, by the way, it's your IT organization or you've outsourced it to a partner who's done traditional imaging, this is faster for all parties to be able to do it.
Right. I mean, the big line here is that if a partner's doing it for you, they have no idea who the user is getting the data. They have no idea of the applications, policies, and settings that are coming down. All they see is this enrollment status page, and at the end, a success page.
Exactly. The technician doesn't log in. That's really important because there's no corporate credentials on this device at this point. Okay, so this is 7 of 8. We'll just
really taking advantage of some of those self-deploying mode capabilities of Autopilot.
Yep. So in a second, it will finish, and what you'll get at the end is either a green or a red screen. Green is good. Red means let's go in and grab some logs because something didn't go right.
Phew, it was green.
So we get a green one, which is good.
All right.
So again, when you get this green, the option you have at the bottom, I don't know if you saw it, we'll go back for a sec, was to reseal the device. So resealing the device electronically puts it back to that out-of-box experience and makes it ready to go in and let the end user log in. So it's really helping with that supply chain attack because the technician doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't know what's been deployed. You just go and do. Let's just let this finish. Oops.
What I love is it actually sets it back to its factory level power settings and factory level conditions as well. So when the user actually turns it on for the first time, there's no difference in experience as if the device never went through a white glove. But now the device has all the apps, policies, and settings on it that are needed for that user so they can get to work. So let's give a demonstration of that.
So demo. So this is a device that we just deployed a few minutes ago. And a couple things are going to happen on here. So this device is one that we actually applied a DFCI firmware policy on, which we'll talk about in a sec. We pushed down things like Teams in the whiteboard. So there's Teams loading up. And I'm going to go in and we will launch a call to that friendly hub that we got over there.
But one thing you'll notice that is Teams is already configured for that user. So the user's credentials and everything, their entire Azure Active Directory single sign-on capability is all put in place here. Okay. So even if they were to launch PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, all of their content would be there immediately.
So that's Demo Hub 9, right, Frank?
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to launch a call to Demo Hub 9.
So you're already on the network, and in this particular case, we're going to join a meeting where Peter's actually calling the Surface Hub right here. And so he's already on the corporate network or the network that we have, and he's able to dial in.
Okay, so the camera you're seeing, by the way, is Frank's camera.
That's right.
Okay. You're not seeing my camera.
Where's your camera?
Well, my camera was disabled via DFCI.
Oh.
If I go in and actually open the camera app, come on. If I go in and open the camera app, what you'll actually see is say, hey, we can't find your camera. It's not that the camera is disabled. It doesn't exist as far as the OS is concerned.
There is no power going to that camera.
Okay. So if you are in an organization where the camera is important or not having a camera is important, think of a government agency, for example, or an R&D team, and being able to do this is super powerful.
Right. The other cool thing about DFCI is the ability where you can actually lock out your users from making any UEFI changes at all. So you can imagine whether some people might have a corporate image on the device or a device that's managed by you, but they may decide they want to put another bootloader on there to be able to boot their own operating system to use the device for personal reasons. You can't do that anymore if you've locked the UEFI, because if you prevent them from booting from USB, now they can't boot from USB and put another operating system on there. I'm not saying that happens in the corporate environment. We've heard certainly that happens in the education world, where a school may give a student a device and be able to say, hey, use just this device. But they're like, no, I think I'll see if I can run Linux on a Surface device because I've seen it on Reddit. So something like that. So So there's certainly things that you can now have a much better management level, all the way through Intune down to that level.
Yep. So before I go in and show you how to enable a policy via DFCI, I do want to point out something. The device has to be registered to your organization. And this is important. What we're doing by doing autopilot and locking these devices to a specific tenant is preventing the use case where your device gets stolen and Frank stole it, and Frank's going to go in and try to use it in his corporation or resell it. When that device boots up, it's going to say, sign in with Contoso, and Frank's not Contoso.com. So that device is locked. These devices can be locked to a specific tenant.
Right.
Now, the way they're locked to a tenant is when you go in and purchase that device and you enroll that device as through Partner Center. So your partner enrolls that device on your behalf. That is a trusted relationship to that device. That serial number is locked to your specific tenant.
Right.
So if you try to move companies, it's always going to come back to that tenant. Okay? That's important. If you just go into Intune and register devices like you would normally for autopilot, that device will not have the trusted status, and you won't be able to apply a DFCI profile. So when I go in here into Intune, I got the right screen up there, and go into, say, Profiles, and create a profile, and say, yes, this is a Windows 10 profile, and our configuration type.
Yep. So there's a new platform, or the platform type is Windows 10, but there's a new profile type called DFCI, and that was put into Intune about a week ago. So if you're an Intune manager now, go check it out.
Yep. And if it's not in your tenant yet, it will be very, very soon, let's put it that way. So when you go in and say, yes, it's a DFCI, you get the option to go in now and say, hey, what do I want to enable, disable? Do I want to enable, disable the camera? Sure, let's do that first. And this is exactly what we did on this guy. And you'll notice that the choices are enabled, disabled, or not configured. Not configured says whatever's on the device, we're going to keep. But enabled or disabled will obviously override whatever's on there. When you're done, you say OK, and it's going to go ahead and create that.
Right.
Okay. So does this make sense?
Yep. How many are using Intune today? So, oh, wow.
Okay. How many of you are using SCCM and not Intune?
Right.
How many of you are really excited the fact that we announced that we're giving Intune licenses to SCCM people who want to do it in hybrid mode?
Right.
There you go. Okay, really good announcement. So this is how you sort of set up the profile in Intune. The other thing that you need to do is, oops, jump to the next slide for a sec. Did we do it too far? No, I did go too far. The next thing we need to do actually is go in and set an autopilot profile, and there are a number of ways to do that. Easiest way is, again, to go into Intune, go into Device Enrollment, and we'll go down to Windows Enrollment, and say Deployment Profiles. And here's where you're going to go in and either create or edit an existing profile. And we will have to enable White Glove for this. So there is a new option that you may or may not have seen called White Glove. And again, that's what enables you to hit that Windows key 5 times
Right.
and get up into the special provisioning mode. Oops. Get over here. Let's try that again. Okay, when you go into Edit, and you go in and say, yes, I want to make it White Glove enabled. And that's about as easy as you can make it. You know, say yes, hit save, and then all the other autopilot stuff that you've done before just works. And if you don't hit the Windows key 5 times and go through the part before White Glove, it'll just deploy like you would normal autopilot. Still apply DFCI profiles, but again, you know, when you get to that endpoint,
Hey, so Peter, one of the things that we deployed in the was the whiteboard. So you should bring up the whiteboard on the, because one of the things that we deployed through Intune was the whiteboard. So because the whiteboard is deployed onto his device, he can actually go straight into it and open it up. And then he's actually able to get into this exact same whiteboard. How many of you have downloaded and started using this Microsoft whiteboard? All right, a good number. Thank you, Sonia. So towards that, the cool thing about the Microsoft whiteboard is it is a shared whiteboard that shares its content over OneDrive for Business. And in this case, if Peter actually grabs the pen off of his Surface device that he has up there and starts drawing on the whiteboard, you'll see that here's Peter actually drawing on the whiteboard, and here I can now answer back in maybe blue. So I could say, hey, what I really want to do is actually maybe create a quick table on the device through our cool whiteboard. I'm actually going to erase this one. move in. This is an unlimited canvas. So I'll be able to draw a square on that. Oops, and if I draw a line through that and another line through that, Peter could actually start writing in here where I could say, hey, here's my name on this whiteboard that I've now been able to configure, and I'm going to be able to add that towards that. So this gives us a nice way to kind of tie together that power of M365 again, of how are we easily able to have Peter turn on a device that's gone through White Glove. He's able to immediately make phone calls over Teams. He's able to go into Whiteboard and get to all of his old content that he had out there, and we're able to kind of co-author across that. So powerful demonstration, I think, here of just how these devices really come alive with M365.
With a pen.
Absolutely. And I think that's the big thing on Surface. When you look at all these Surface devices here, you see the modality of consistency, where what that means to me would be that every device has a pen, has a touch screen, has camera, speaker, microphone. And so whether you're on the smallest Surface Go device, which is, boy, we even have a Go up here? Oh, there's one right over there. So even if you're on a small 10-inch Go, or all the way up to maybe a Book 2 here, or even a Studio, or even a Surface Hub, you're all able to collaborate with kind of an equal footing, whether you have multiple people. And then in the future, we'll actually be announcing the new 85-inch Surface Hub, which will ship later next year. So exciting to be able to kind of tie all these technologies together towards that. All right.
Okay, we good? Okay, so let's talk about sort of management, okay? Devices have to get updated, okay? Devices that get updated regularly tend to be more secure, and that is a good thing. So as Microsoft, we own our firmware, we own our UEFI, we own everything up to the cloud. What that lets us do is not just, hey, create a device, but lets us always keep that device as secure as possible. So in Christmas time 2017, a vulnerability was announced, actually it's almost New Year's, called Spectre Meltdown. And Spectre Meltdown was a chip vulnerability that many of you have probably heard of. Who's heard of Spectre Meltdown? Anyone? Okay. Required a patch for pretty much every PC, whether it was Intel-based or ARM-based, and pretty much every phone and every tablet and everyone. We made it really easy to apply this patch. There was no special app we had to do. We created the firmware fix for this and pushed out the Windows Update. And devices that took Windows Update, whether directly or through Windows Update for Business, or you're running your own WSS server, whatever it is, you're able to easily take that and apply that patch without having to break your normal process. You didn't have to build anything special. It just applied and got fixed. That's one of the things that's really powerful for me as a former IT administrator to say, hey, this is less work to do to stay secure. I'm not lazy, I try to be effective. There's the difference, right? So having devices that are manageable through modern methods is just really important. So once you deploy through Autopilot, do your full lifecycle management through Intune, and go in and just make the patches happen. Make those, whether it's firmware, software OS, software applications, or OS, whatever it is, keep it in steady state usage, keep it up to date and patched. Just becomes really, really effective. It makes your device that much more secure. Make sense? By the way, you get lower support tickets. That's something that we all like. Again, effective is important. If we can keep our users working better, okay, reducing the IT time and labor with M365, to me, that's a huge, huge, huge win. Again, how do we do this? We own the UFI. We're able to go in and do all this remote management to make it as easy as possible to update the BIOS. Whether, again, we do co-management with SCCM in the cloud, make it as easy as possible. We can do it manually through SEMM, or again, automatically through DFCI. Okay.
How about security?
Security?
Everybody likes to talk about security. So for Surface, when we look at security, we're thinking of it from chip to cloud, right? We not only are a hardware manufacturer, but we obviously build software components as well. And when I looked to when I was a computer science major, there was kind of like the IP stack. And so if you thought about it at the very lowest level all the way up to the cloud and the application level, how do you think about security? And so that's how we think about security today, was like from a silicon all the way up to the cloud, how do we protect that device? As Peter mentioned, we actually own our own UEFI, right? Back in 2014, when we put out the Surface Pro 4, we actually brought in UEFI development in-house. So instead of using, say, American Megatrends or somebody else's UEFI and having another vendor that you had to rely on if there was a firmware vulnerability in order to get them to give you an update, we brought that in-house. And we actually made it open source through a project called Project Mu. So if you go out and look Project Mu as open source, you'll see that there's a UEFI out there for other vendors to adopt as well. What that did was it allowed us to bring in things like SEM, Surface Enterprise Management Mode, that allows us to have a plugin into Config Manager to essentially manage the UEFI across all of our Surface devices. But what we then did is we actually added this Intune UEFI management announcement that we're announcing here at Ignite through DFCI in order to manage down to that firmware level. So we love that idea as you kind of look through these different pieces, how that brings things to life. Now, one thing that I always point out would be is, hey, a lot of you probably carry, say, a Apple phone. And if you're carrying an Apple phone, then one thing you know is that you have a PIN code that you can place on that phone. But you also know that that PIN code protects the device from ever being re-imaged. Because it used to be that you could give an Apple phone to like a loved one that was a hand-me-down and they could go into iTunes and just re-image that device. Well, you can't do that anymore because privacy matters to them as well as us. And so what that means is that if you don't know that PIN code, that device that you find or that device that is given to you is only worth the parts that are in it. Well, for Surface, if you can lock the UEFI level, you have essentially accomplished the same thing. If you don't allow somebody to boot from a USB and re-image the device, the only value of that device, if somebody was to lose or have it stolen from them, is the hardware and the components that are in the device. And so some of the things could be, hey, could I take the hard drive out of the device? Because we do have, say, the Surface Pro X and now the Laptop 3. You can remove the hard drive from the device. Could I put another hard drive into it? No, you can't, because Secure Boot says there has to be a signature that I recognize that has to be on that signature of what was in there. So you can't change that. But then they could be like, hey, can I take that that SSD, that M2 SSD, and actually put it into another device? You can't, because it's BitLockered. Right? So there's securities that's built in kind of at a protective layer that really goes along that line. So as you work your way up this stack, you start to see all these different feature sets. And if you if you didn't go to yesterday's security session, I would definitely recommend, it was probably our most technical session in a Surface that we've done. It was almost, I would say, a 400 level session. So be able to go back and listen to that session about Surface and security that we did yesterday. It's available to you online. But one of the things that I want to talk about within M365 is this idea of Defender ATP. And how many of you are actually actively using Defender ATP and deploying it? So the thing that brings to Defender ATP to life with Surface would be is this idea of the intelligent security graph. And so the storyline that I use there is another vendor, a partner vendor of ours in the future, would be Google, right? So every day I'm driving home, and I use Google Maps, and I don't live far from campus in Redmond, but it's about a 5-mile drive, and sometimes it can take me 40 minutes, sometimes it can take me 10, it just depends on the route that I take. But Google Maps would say, hey, go around this big red line in front of you and you'll be able to save a bunch of time. And so I'm thinking, how do they know that red line exists? It's because everybody else is using Google Maps as well, and they're sending telemetry up to Google that says, hey, this is a bad part. I'm really driving slow right now. And so I'm able to benefit from the suffering of others, right? And so for me, that kind of relates to intelligent security graph. It's safe to say that how many 900 million devices out there are Windows 10 devices now, and almost 1 billion if you include Windows 7. So if you're able to say that, now commercial customers don't normally send telemetry up to Microsoft, but consumer users do. So we get a lot of telemetry coming back from those devices about risks and security vulnerabilities that are out there. So if there's a device, say in Europe, that is asleep because it's in connected standby, which is a cool feature set of a Surface device, by the way. If you actually push the device down, or if actually I hit the power button on the device and push it down, it's now in active standby, meaning that it's gone into an extremely low power state, but it's actually receiving updates and receiving email updates and everything else towards that, so that as soon as I lift this beautiful Surface 3 screen, it actually turns on, instant on, and is able to have full power at this point. But that means that those devices sitting in, say, Europe, while maybe we detect a vulnerability in, say, Australia, we're able to automatically push updates to that device while it's asleep. But we're not able just to push updates to the Windows operating system and the device drivers, but we're able to push updates all the way down to the UEFI level through capsule updates that take place all through Windows Update. So that's a big story, for us to be able to say, hey, how do we do that, and how do we secure the device in that particular state? The last piece is just that reminder that through Intune, you can certainly send wipe and retire signals to devices straight through. And again, if you want to actually do that tomorrow, we have a hands-on lab that you can go attend and actually walk through each of the different steps in order to do that. So for us, though, it's all about how do we bring deployment management security together and put the user in the center. But what we're really trying to do is eliminate that IT complexity so the device fades to the background, your IT management fades to the background, and people can just get the work they want done. And so I think you can see that even though you have a higher level of control over the UEFI management and Windows 10 management and deployment through things like Autopilot, you actually are making it easier for your users because they don't have to sit on a corporate network to deploy the device. They don't have to worry about the security settings on their device being pushed down. They don't have to worry about those management features in order to manage the device. They're just using the device as they need to, but you have that full control that you expect. So for that, that kind of brings us to the end. So we're proud to represent the Surface family here, and excited to take any questions that you may have as we close out this session.
Just if you have questions, please come up to one of the mics and so that we get it on the recording.
Yep. And if there's no questions, then
I've got to have questions.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question. All right. Stump the panel.
Really good description of Surface and security. How extensible are they? Are the memory soldered on? They are.
So my suggestion is, if you're looking at Surface devices, figure out what your real requirements are. Understand that we have a range of models and a range of devices for pretty much every persona. Figure out what you need today, where you expect to grow, and find the right device.
So here's our challenge is traditionally, and I realize this is all new stuff, right, at least for us, but we have purchased, it's kind of a standard corporate laptop, 8 gigs of RAM, 240 gigs of hard drive space, and we hand that off to everybody, and everybody's happy with their laptop. Nobody needs to make any customizations, especially if they're a developer that needs a little bit higher power. So having to choose the different hardware models up front, moves our cheese. It's more complicated for us to figure out who needs what in our logistics process.
So I hear that, but I mean, I don't know, Frank, what your opinion is. My opinion is, it's better to me to spend the time up front and understand, again, what the requirements are. If I have a developer, maybe they need the 15-inch laptop instead of the 13-inch. And to be able to think through those issues as a sort of as we call them personas, say, yes, what's the right way to do this? So my encouragement is to invest the time. We see that tools like OneDrive and adopting a simplified security stack through M365 E5, for example, reduces all the other things you need to install on your Surface device and may make it run faster than ones you have with your traditional load, if you will.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
I think also know that we do, while we intend to have purpose-built devices, we also find that people buy them outside of where we market them to, which is perfectly fine, of course, but know that devices like Go are really aimed at more first-line workers and mobile workers in order that want a very flexible, smaller platform. The sweet spot is between pro and laptop. Some people like a kickstand device, like Megan back there on her kickstand device right now, having it on the lap and other pieces and having that flexibility to use the device, where a laptop device I hate to use the term lapability, but it has, that flat surface on top of your lap or wherever you're working on it. And key travel and touchpad and other pieces all really matter. And then when it comes to the book is really your powerhouse device that you're aiming more at the people using Photoshop. And because it has a discrete GPU in it, it really aims itself at more of the designers and the creators that are out there, not just the information workers. And even doing some gaming on the device too, because it does have a GeForce card inside of it. And then Studio, whole different platform, more from a marketing and engineering and executive and other pieces and creators as well. So different platforms for different people, but all worth checking out. Yes, sir.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so we're looking at this autopilot, but we have our image kind of nailed down through SCCM,
Right.
right? And we're not seeing a parity between the two, and I know they're different technologies, but I have a very specific question.
Okay.
Our info security team mandates that we name our systems based
Right.
on a unique sticker that's
Right.
applied by our partner.
Right.
How do I get that kind of naming convention that we had in SCCM because we could get to the BIOS,
Right.
type that into the BIOS and suck it in? I don't know how I could do that in autopilot.
So actually with an autopilot under the deployment profile, when you create the deployment profile, the very last question that it asks you is, it says, do you want to custom name or just assign a random name or the name that the device ships with? You can click yes, and then it'll actually open up a bar below that where you can give it a 15-character unique name that you can name it yourself. And you can actually put
Including the serial number, specifically including the serial number and
or a
prefix.
random number generator that is within there as well.
It wouldn't be a random number.
Oh,
It would be
but
like a,
you don't have to use that random number generator, but it's available to you if you wanted it.
all right, so I guess I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, we can actually, if you want to come to our booth, we actually have an IT deployment area, and we can actually walk you straight through that and show you where that setting is within Autopilot.
Okay. And the other question I had was, you talked about the, in that setting, it's kind of like a GPO setting. where it's
Right.
Configured. So if I wanted to lock the camera out, but then give the users ability later on to mess with the camera, I would have to apply a lock and then apply a profile to say not configured.
Yeah.
And it'll
Right.
Okay.
Now, know that you don't have to, I'm sure there's a GPO or a setting within Windows that allows you to turn the camera off and on. At that point, you're turning it off and on within the device manager. It still knows it's on the system and you have a little bit more control on it. So then those types of things you could do from maybe a conditional access rule that says, hey, if the device is outside of this space, maybe I send a signal to it that says turn the camera off through maybe Windows. But also know that you can do that at the firmware level as well. So you kind of just have that granularity. The firmware level advantage is that it doesn't even show up in Device Manager. It's like it doesn't exist. Where within Windows, you have a little bit more administrative control over it.
Super.
All right.
With that, I just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate
Yeah.
your time. Please, please, please do the evaluations. That's really important to all of us. And again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.